Okay, this video is going to create your notes for the geometric mean of right triangles. So you're going to take your note card and you're going to write geometric mean of right triangles. Geometric mean of right triangles. Okay, we're going to take a triangle and we're going to tip it over. So typically you see the right angle on the left or the right, but I'm going to tip it so that my right angle is on the top. So here's my right angle. That means that my hypotenuse is down here. This is C, and that makes this side A and this side B for our Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, now I'm going to draw an altitude, and if you'll remember, an altitude is a perpendicular line from the vertex perpendicular to the sides. So here's another line. Okay, so that splits my big triangle into a smaller triangle and a medium-sized triangle. And I'm going to label the altitude X. And then I'm going to label my left side Y. So this part's going to be Y. And then from there to the other end of the triangle, that's going to be Z. That's going to be Z. Okay, so this is going to set up our triangles. Now, you do need three different colors. Three different colors, because we're going to highlight three different proportional relationships. See, these three triangles are similar to one another. So that means that I can set up a ratio and a proportion to solve for the different sides of the triangle. Now, the first one, I'm going to compare the small and the medium triangle. So I'm going to take my first color and I'm going to kind of make a upside down T, because those are the sides that we are comparing. So I'm going to write in blue the proportion that gets set up, and we always start on our left side. So I'm going to compare Y to X equals X to Z. That's my first proportion, and that's how the sides are related to one another. Y compares to X, and X compares to Z. If I look at my picture, Y seems to be my smaller side compared to my X, which is the longer side, and then it's flip-flops. X is my shorter side here, and Z is my longer side on this triangle. So there's my first proportion, and I'm comparing the smaller one to the larger one. And it looks like an upside down T. Then I'm going to compare my left-sided triangle to my entire triangle. So I'm going to draw, kind of looks like a sock. And I'm going to highlight those in red. So those are the sides that get compared here. And for my second proportion, which is my left-sided triangle compared to the larger one, I'm comparing side Y to side A, and that equals A to C. And there's my second proportion. My third one is going to compare the right side of the triangle to the large one. So again, it kind of looks like a sock. And it compares B, C, and Z. So my proportion is going to compare Z to B equals B to C. Okay? So this is our notes. This is what we're going to be using to help us in our assignment. Okay, so here's your assignment on geometric mean, and I'm going to show you how to use our card in conjunction with your assignment. So for the first one, find the geometric mean of each pair of numbers. If necessary, give the answer in simplest radical form. Okay, well the setup for that is you're going to take your number, 2, and you're going to set it up over X, and that's going to equal X over 50. So here's our mean part. This is the part that we need to know. Now from here we cross multiply. So I'm going to cross multiply and I get 100 equals cross multiply. I get x squared. Of course, then we need to square root both sides. And you should know the square root of 100. It is a perfect square. That's going to be 10. Feel free to simplify the radical like we've learned in class. So for number 1, our x is equal to 10. We're going to set up each problem the same way. 2 over x equals x over 50. So number over x equals x over the number that they give us. Now for number 7, this is where we're going to use our card. And you see how they have the triangle flipped upside down. So what I want to do is flip our card upside down, and I want to model the triangle. Okay? So here on the left, that's not actually x, that's b. So I'm going to relabel it. Okay? I'm going to relabel it. That means z is not really z, it's a. Y isn't really y, it's x. 4 is going to be equal to the y value, and 6 is going to be equal to the z value. Okay, so I am essentially replacing the variables that are here with the ones that correspond to my card. Okay, so here's b, here's b. Here's x, here's x. Here's a, here's a. My card corresponds with my problem, and I've turned my card to match it so I can label it appropriately. I have my value for y is 4, my value for z is 6. Now I want to turn my card over so I can look at the proportions. So I can look at these 3 equations so I can determine which one's going to be useful to me. Okay, also, if this is 6 and this is 4, then really and truly I do have C. C would go all the way across, and if this piece is 6 and this piece is 4, then C is going to equal 10. So that gives me another piece of information. Now, I need to determine which one I want to find. So, if I want to find x, which is my first equation here, I would need to know y and z. Here's y, here's z, so I do know that information. So I'm going to use my first proportion to solve for x. Okay, so I'm going to have y over x equals x over z. Y equaled 4 over x equals x, z equaled 6. Now, just like above, I'm going to cross multiply. So 4 times 6 is 24 equals, cross multiply and get x squared, and then we've got to take the square root. So the square root of 24 is equal to x, and it does say leave it in simplest radical form. If I have time on the video, I'll come back and do that. If not, I know you can do it by yourself. Okay, next one, what do I want to find? Well, let me find a, which is number 2. Let's see, to find a, I need to have y, and I need to have c, and I do know both of those. So I'm going to have y over a equals a over c. Y is 4 over a equals a, and c is 10. So again, I'm going to cross multiply. 40 equals, cross multiply again, a squared. And then we're going to take the square root. So square root of 40 is equal to a. Again, you would simplify this to the simplest radical form. However, my time is ticking. Okay, so the next one I need to find is b, and that's equation number 3. So I have to have z, which I do, and c, which I do, and I can set up that proportion. So z is over b equals b over c, that's correct. And that gives me 6 over b equals b over 10. And I'm going to cross multiply. I get 60 equals, cross multiply the other direction, b squared. Take the square root, and square root of 60 is equal to b. Okay, I do have a few minutes, so I do want to simplify these down. I can divide by 2 and I get 12. Divide by 2, I get 6. Divide by 2, I get 3. Divide by 3, and there's my 1 and done. I have a pair of 2's that come out, so 2 goes outside, and 2 and 3 stay inside, and I multiply them back together, so that's 2 square root of 6. So x equals 2 square root of 6. 40, I can divide by 2, and I get 20. Divide by 2, I get 10. Divide by 2, I get 5. Can't divide by 2. Can't divide by 3. I can divide by 5. And there's my 1, and I'm done. So I have another pair of 2's and a 2 and a 5 left over. So that pair of 2 gets to come out and play. 2 and 5 stay in, and they're multiplied back together, and that equals A. 2 square root of 10 is A. For square root of 60, I'm going to divide by 2, and I get 30. Divide by 2, I get 15. Can't divide by 2, but I can divide by 3. I get 5. Can't divide by 3, but I can divide by 5. And there's my 1. So I have a pair of 2's again, and I have a 3 and a 5 left over. So that means 2 gets to come out and play. 3 and 5 stay in and get multiplied back together, so that equals 15, and that equals B. So now I have completed my problem. I have solved all 3 sides, and I used my card to change the links based on the card. So if I go to setup number 8, it's kind of set up like I have it. See my numbers here in the top right hand corner, and here's my right angle. So I want to change Z because that's really A. X is really Y. 10 is equal to the X. Y is really B. And 20 is equal to Z. Now, all together, all the way across, that's equal to C. I don't know what C is yet, but that helps get you set up for problem number 8. So rename them and find your missing sides.